Hey everyone, Mark here. It's been a while since Ryan and I had a chance to talk. So we did finally the other day, after he had a little vacation, we finally made it through all of our Utah Film Critics Association nominations and voting for best movie, best director, best actor, all that great stuff that you love. And we finally got a chance to talk, and we realized that A, there was a movie that we hadn't talked about that we both enjoyed, but two, we had not done a Christmas episode. Thankfully for you, and for us, those two things converged, and we got to talk about Violent Night. So listen up or keep watching as we talk about one of the funnest Christmas movies to come out in a good long while. Thanks for listening, everyone. I can't believe that when we watched Violent Night, we didn't get a chance to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which I guess it works out because now it's the 21st and we haven't done a Christmas episode yet.
Correct.
So
we can do this.
Why not?
Yeah.
We normally pick a Christmas movie. We normally, you started it with weird Christmas movie. Doing these Christmas episodes. It turns out Hollywood has given us a weird Christmas movie.
Yes.
This year. David Harbour, John Leguizamo, Beverly D'Angelo, directed by Tommy Wirkola, associated with the John Wick franchise, I believe.
He did the Dead Snow, which was the Nazi zombie film.
Which actually, I've watched the first Dead Snow, which I did terribly enjoy.
Don't stop there.
Stop there.
Don't
Okay.
go for two. Yeah,
Noted. I'll consider that a safety warning. Violent Night, more blood in the snow. But okay, so it's Christmas Eve. Santa's delivering. Disgruntled Santa. No, you know what? He's not really disgruntled. Let's clear that up. He's just tired. He's just tired.
Well, and he's got a really accurate take on the world on how once upon a time he used to give people gifts. Now he gives them gift cards and cash and video games, and it's just it's joyless.
Yes,
they've sucked the joy right out of Santa.
Yep. And then he winds up at a very fancy home, private compound, that unfortunately their Christmas has already been ruined before he gets there. And he finds himself, thanks to some errant reindeer or cowardly reindeer, stranded and stuck in this house, having to deal with the situation at hand. And at that point, the movie takes what could have just been like a dark, Year Without a Santa Claus almost. If you remember the Year Without a Santa Claus, instead turns into, and I hate the Die Hard comparison. I really
but it's
do,
there.
But it's there.
They even make it.
I know, right? They even make it. But again, okay, so let's talk about that. They make the Die Hard comparison in the film. This film embraces what it is.
Yes.
100%. Two hands, big drunken family reunion hug. And that just makes this movie all the better, as far as I'm concerned. It's played straight. Nobody, there's humor, but they never really try to go comic, except for one little bit.
I was going to say, it's a film that there are laughs, but they're generated in a sense by the how far they're willing to go with certain things.
Yeah.
And in most cases, it's the violence, or there is a sort of gleeful nature to a lot of the violence that Santa is in the middle of.
Yep.
In this film, it's a hostage situation where you have bad guys, but the hostage situation, the people who are hostages, are rich jerks. So, but there's at least maybe one, maybe two sympathetic characters in there, and the thing that I enjoy is that Santa kind of struggles with the idea. It's like, okay, So the majority of these people are terrible people. But there's that one little girl. Oh,
Damn
man,
it.
you know.
Doesn't he say, he says, damn it, I think, at one point. He realizes that he has to stay.
I think it's, I mean, there's a certain spirit of Christmas in that.
Yeah.
In that all it does is it takes one good kid to make Santa have to, go out of his way to save them or whatnot. But
he does it in the least Santa way possible.
Yes, and he's given a different origin story.
Well, it's a pre-origin story.
Yeah.
We get glimpses of pre-Santa, but never intra-Santa. We never see the metamorphosis from what he was before to what he is now. It's just we see what he was and we know he is Santa. But how it's Christmas magic, I'm not really sure how it works. But yeah, so I want that story. I want to know how he went from hammer wielding, spoiler alerts, Viking death dealer to Santa. That's a transition I need explained. I need that knowledge. But I do think it's funny that there's when he gets cut and he has to stitch himself up and he takes it off and it's slow-mo thing coming off and you get all the tattoos. It's like, well, there's the John Wick influence. But so Wick does have an influence in this. That's probably why I went there with Wacola. But
it's very stylized in that regard.
Yeah, it is. But it's just like I said, and the thing that it does, and that it actually does very similarly to John Wick, as it turns out, is again it plays everything straight. It says this is the world in which we live. Yeah. And these are the rules by which we play by, and therefore you're going to watch the movie and you're just going to accept that and move on. And a lot of more movies need to do that. They need to say, no, this is the world you live in, and now let's go do our movie. But too many of them kind of waffle. They're like, this is the movie we live in, but you don't have to believe it if you don't want to. We'll throw you just enough outs to take you away from it. And in this one, it's like, nah, this is where you are. You have crossed that multiversal boundary, and here's where you are now. And you just have to accept it. And it's just, it's terribly, well, it's not terribly, it is derivative. It draws on a lot of influences, but then it drops you in this world that they've defined and lets all of those influences play. And like I said, I saw it twice. I took my wife to see it, that opening weekend because she didn't see it at the screening with us. And, I saw it twice. I smiled the entire time, both times. I'm just watching. I'm just smiling. I'm like, this is like one of my favorite Christmas movies now. It might, in its own way, be better than Die Hard, if only. And I know some people we're going to get calls. If only is that it is because it's possible that John Leguizamo is a bigger dickhead than Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman is just cool and evil, and John Leguizamo's just a dick from start to finish. But other than that, this might be, it's definitely one of my new favorite Christmas movies, and it might be better than Die Hard. And I'm sure you have thoughts on that.
I just think they're a different thing entirely. And I don't know that this film exists in this shape without Die Hard. So, so I don't know that I don't know that comparison better or worse or whatnot. I think it's, but what's strange about the film is you kind of knew that we were in for the violence and the over the top, nature of that. But they do, as you said earlier, squeeze in some like the family coming together, feel good aspects that would be associated with more traditional sort of holiday movies, and it's a little bumpy at times.
True.
but so it's hard to go from happy love to what do we have, an ice skate to the throat sort of thing. But
the ice skate boxing gloves, those were and the
anyway,
yes, the snowblower rope.
But I think and one of the comparisons someone asked me, and I can't remember, but what is it, Bill and Tucker?
Oh, Tucker and Dale.
Tucker and Dale. There we go. Tucker and Dale versus Evil or whatever. There's this similar sort of joyous sort of. I mean, the violence is handled in a similar way as to that. I prefer Tucker and Dale, to be honest, but because that's more about misconceptions.
Yeah,
and they're doing different things with that. But as far as like the fun factor, I thought it was a pretty good comparison.
Yeah, well, the first half of the film, Santa doesn't want to be engaging in all of this violence because of his past. It's only, toward the end, that last third, that he really is kind of put in a position where he has to embrace that and, kind of channel pre-Santa. And just go for it. So it's not, so like half of it, I can see the Tucker Dale where the violence is just kind of happening. He's almost he is an unwilling participant, and he's often, kind of a bystander sometimes. Yeah. I mean, he's active, but it's more bystander, but it's not, once he engages, that's when this thing really ratchets up to 10. When he gets in there, when he finds his Skull Crusher stand-in, there was a little diversion into Home Alone, and yes. I can only okay. So this movie is rated R, and it's a hard R for violence, which I don't care, but then that whole, which is weird because of the little girl being in this movie, but then when she gets her Home Alone segment, that's just thrown at the old people that grew up watching Home Alone and remember that, and now as adults we understand how just patently ridiculous it all is, but it's still funny. It's not funny. It's just one of those things that but it's like, I don't know, they didn't throw it in for kids, because you shouldn't have your kids watching this, not your little kids, and it might give your unruly 13-year-olds a few too many ideas, but yeah, it's that one segment, that was the segment that I really that I cared for the least, but it was only redeemed by the fact that the villains that were getting Home Alone, unlike the wet bandits in Home Alone, they were actually intent on killing her. It's like, no, this little girl's going to die. They were all in on killing her. It's Home Alone with more peril, if anything. It's not someone robbing your house or whatever. So but yeah, that segment was a little weird, but the rest of it, the ultimate fate, like I said, this is hard R for gore, because there's a lot of gory deaths. There's hammers involved and snowblowers and ice skate boxing gloves, and the chimney segment at the end, I saw it coming and I was like, oh please. And then it came, and I was like, and it was better than I thought they were. I was amazed that they made that as hard as they did. And I was like, oh my God, that's odd. I mean, again, I don't care about the violence because I understand I can differentiate movies from reality. But I was just like, wow, I'm really impressed that they went that far, because that was a bloodbath.
Well, but it also answers a question that you might raise. I'm not going to say what that question is necessarily, but when it comes to Christmas magic, it does answer a question. that you might have regarding the limits of Christmas magic and the extent of it and the reach, shall we say?
Yep.
So I guess in a weird way, or I don't know if it's that weird, but that moment is actually informing us about the world where these things take place.
About Christmas magic canon.
Yes. So, I mean, it's gratuitous from start to finish, but there is some wit to it.
Yeah, and they try to give Santa, and they do. They give Santa some depth. With this new backstory.
And I think that my concern was going into is you really shouldn't make Santa maybe an evil guy.
Right.
We've seen that, particularly if it really is Santa, I guess there's some reverence for Santa that I have or something. Right. But in this film, doesn't make him a bad guy.
No. Not at all.
At all.
He is not an evil Santa. David Harbour, Stranger Things. Really good as Viking Santa. And I said it and I mentioned it. He has completely redeemed himself from that Hellboy adaptation, which was just, I mean, everyone pretty much agrees that was just nightmarish. Not his fault. There was a lot of stuff wrong with that movie, but it's like, oh, we can get Stranger Things and Violent Night. We can just gloss over the whole Hellboy thing now. He's Red Guardian, sure.
Yes, there you go. I was going to say, don't forget that.
Red Guardian, Red Storm, whatever name they want to call him by. But yeah, so I was very happy that he really did embody this Santa. In a way that made him relatable, vulnerable, pitiable in many respects. But ultimately you rooted for him because he's Santa and he's doing what Santa should do, which is what the whole point of the movie is that he's trying to remember what Santa does. Methodology is a little twisted at points, but it's a thing. But no, so no, yeah, the movie, it sticks, it figures out what it wants to do, what it wants to say. And then it does that. Like I said, and it embraces it. It never became afraid of itself and what it was trying to do. And like I said, a lot more movies need to do that. They need to stick to their guns and not get to a point where they're like, I don't know. I had that argument, or, I had that observation about Thor: Love and Thunder. I talked about Waititi wrote it, and he had a really good villain, and there were points in the film where he would approach that darkness, which could have made a really great segment, and then he would just pull away and run straight to stupid comedy. These guys, I don't think, ever pulled away. They never went to stupid comedy, obviously, but I don't think they might have got to a point and said, okay, far enough, but I don't think they ever said, nah, too far. And I think that was, it's a bold choice, and obviously it paid off for them because it's done fairly well at the box office for this kind of movie. Let's be clear.
Yep.
This isn't a $300 million movie. So, but no, it did well on opening weekend. I think it's going to stick around for probably a couple more weeks. And
it's you can now watch it at home too. I think it's available for rental.
Oh yeah.
If not purchase as well. But yeah, it popped up this week for those of you who don't want to go out to the theater.
Oh, it'll be cheaper to rent at home, which is a plus. But if you want to watch it, just gather the older family around, not the little kids. This is for after the little ones go to bed. And try to keep your volume down a little bit because it does get a little loud at times. So you don't want to wake the kids up while you're watching Santa. No, it's so good. It's great. I'm glad we had a Christmas movie in time for Christmas to talk about. It's good to have you back from across the pond. You who took an unsanctioned 10-day vacation to London. Did you enjoy all of your Cure concerts?
Yes, of course.
And did you enjoy your stage productions on the West End, or on the West End?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I got to see Ian McKellen in drag, in a children's play. That was fun. Actually, and Cabaret. I got to go to Cabaret, which they've revamped a entire theater into the Kit Kat Club, and there's all the pre-show and things, and that was fun. But surprisingly. Well, there's a few. The thing that I ended up that I liked the most was something I didn't even know that was happening, and it was a live adaptation of My Neighbor Totoro, with puppetry done by the Henson Company.
Really?
It was, yeah. It's a Royal Shakespeare Company did this live adaptation that is very faithful to the film and the spirit of anime and whatnot, with just these crazy, fantastic giant puppets and things. It was in a lot of ways it was simplistic,
right?
But sometimes that's the way you need to. I mean, it was magical in its own right. Yeah, they just did some really neat stuff with it, and I don't know what's going to come of it. I got lucky to get in because it's completely sold out. Its entire run is sold out. But it would be interesting to see if we can hopefully get that out where more people can see it, because I thought it was really kind of a fun thing. Yeah. So no, it was. I did 5 plays and 5 concerts, and
you got to see Danny Elfman sing.
I did see, yes. I got to see the Nightmare Before Christmas live, which was actually, I think it's funny. Sometimes you forget how important films are to you, and your life, I guess. And Nightmare Before Christmas was it's always been something I really liked. Sometimes I think we forget how much we like things, and that was one of those moments where I was reminded, it's 29 years old next year. It's its 30th anniversary, but it's like it's hard to imagine a world where Disney, because once upon a time Disney didn't embrace it. They were kind of not sure about how they felt about Nightmare Before Christmas, and now arguably it's one of their most enduring franchises. Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, see, I was never a big fan of the movie. I watched it once, but I think to see something like that, it's more of an experience, and I think that would be. I could appreciate it.
I mean, Danny obviously did the vocals for Jack. He had a couple of the man who did Oogie Boogie originally was there, but then they had some really talented actors as well, and Phoebe Bridges was Sally, and came out dressed entirely like Sally, which was a kind of fun sort of. I mean, the movie means a lot to a lot of different people,
right?
And it was kind of fun to look at the crowd as well that was there, and just see this kind of crazy mix of people from all sorts of different backgrounds, and and it was a full orchestra and whatnot. So there's that element of it as well, and
that's cool. Sounds like it would have been cool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it was cool.
That is one of the wonders of movie. A movie can appeal to anybody.
Yeah.
And it's nice when you get a chance to see how a movie affects that kind of swath of people all at once. It's not like it reminds you what movies are supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, this was an arena. This was Wembley Arena, so it wasn't a small venue, and they sold out 2 nights.
Oh my God!
So, I mean, it's not stadium, not the stadium, mind you, but arena. And so, I mean, it's not like this was a little thing. This was a pretty major production, and people came from all over to see it.
So before I let you go, and we wish all these people Merry Christmas this weekend and Happy New Year next weekend. How did you get in if it was sold out?
For the Danny Elfman?
Yeah.
Got there early enough. But it actually what happened, so the first night sold out, and I was able to jump on the second.
So they were like same day sales. These hadn't been on sale for
no, it was pretty quick. I didn't even know it was happening. I just happened to look. Say, what happens is I tend to have 2 or 3 things that I'm going for, and then I just say, what else is there? And first night I was there, that was the first night it sold out. They added the second night, and so I said, well, I got to do it.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that worked. That's one of those nice unexpected surprises.
Yeah, I was even on 13th row, which I think if you're going to see, you'd be on row 13. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's up close and personal. You got to see the sweat on Danny Elfman's brow. If he had sweat.
Well, no, and Danny is still an extremely talented entertainer. For a lot of people who didn't know him from his Oingo Boingo days, Oingo Boingo was a phenomenal band to see live. I saw them a few times. So there was a lot about this that was kind of going back to the early '90s and whatnot, when I was a young teenager, just looking at the ways of the world.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, you're so old now. You're so old.
I don't.
No, not really. Well, so we went from Violent Night to The Nightmare Before Christmas to The Cure, who's your favoriteest band of all time ever. So
yeah.
So it was a nice pre-Christmas trip for you.
Yeah. And unfortunately I did miss our Utah Critics gathering, but I did have some influence, I hope, and our picks were pretty good.
Yeah, that came down to two films a lot of times, and the votes were normally pretty tight. So so if you go to UtahFilmCritics.com, I believe, or UtahFilmCritics.com, you can see our list, or of picks, or you can follow us on Twitter at VS Movie Podcast, and I put a link to it there as well. So a lot of great movies we saw. It was nice. There was one movie won more, but there were a lot of movies in a lot of discussions. So that was what was great about it, was we got to talk about a lot of movies, a lot of good movies. We weren't picking apart averages to try to find somebody worthy. So that was great. It's been a great year for film. Hopefully next year continues. Hopefully 2023 is another excellent cinematic year. But since we're coming up on the holidays, I don't know how much. We're probably not going to talk again until the new year, but I'm sure I'm going to have some reviews up. I'm sure Ryan will have some up, and I will link to those on the website, vsmoviepodcast.com, because there are still films that we need to talk about, or at least let you know that they're coming. They're out there. Have a good time seeing them. There's something for everyone in theaters right now.
And and that might actually be Puss in Boots, and that might surprise some of you.
Well, Puss in Boots is good for kids, but then there's also adult stuff like Violent Night. Or, yes, Puss in Boots is out there for everybody. Everybody can watch Puss in Boots. And as I said in my review today, I was shocked at how much I enjoyed that movie, because I did not expect to like it going in. So that's it. That's my endorsement. I was shocked at how much I love that movie. So, and it was still only like the 3rd best animated film of the year.
Correct.
So,
but definitely deserving to be in that conversation.
If we did not get Marcel the Shell and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio this year, one of which is suitable for kids, one of which older kids. Puss in Boots, everybody. Everybody can watch Puss in Boots. Everybody. Doesn't matter. Your 4-month-old can sit through Puss in Boots, but please don't take them to the theater. That's just rude. And mean, because their little ears will get pummeled by the sound. And then, they won't be able to hear you yell at them later when they're teenagers. So, okay, that's it. Thank you, Ryan, for coming on and talking. Everyone, don't forget to like us, follow us on social media at VS Movie Podcast. You know how that works. Stay safe this holiday season, but it is kind of Hollywood season. If you're caught in the Arctic bomb of coldness that's killing half of the United States right now, please stay warm, because you can die out there. It's so cold. And we don't want you to die. We want you to listen to us talk about movies that we love, and some that we don't, but most of them we enjoy. So till next time, I'm Mark. That's Ryan. Bye, Ryan.
Hey guys.
And we will talk to everyone later. Bye-bye.